What do you get when you take a Tour de France champion, slap him with a Parinise Crash, strip him of any racing activity for 4 entire months, throw him up a mountain in Spain, and tell him, hey, by the way, the Tour starts in July, good luck. You get the Jonas Vingegaard 2025 Master Plan, or as I like to call it, Operation Panic. Today we're taking a look at the disaster recovery protocol that is Jonas Vingegaard's 2025 season. Why did he vanish from the racing calendar like your hopes of sticking to a New Year's resolution? Is he going to surprise us all, the Tour de France? Or is this just a really slow motion train wreck? Let's break it down. Section 1. Parinise Crash, aka when the universe yeeted Jonas into retirement planning. You might remember Jonas's 2025 season like this. He showed up to the Volta ao Algarve, won it like he was out for a light jog, then headed into Paris-Nice thinking, what could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. Stage 5 of Paris-Nice. The day Vingegaard was doing just fine, sitting in yellow, probably sipping confidence through a reusable water bottle, when boom, he's on the ground, face kissing the tarmac, bike somersaulting into an existential crisis. He ended up with a cut lip, a wrist injury, a bruised ego, and worst of all, a DNS, or DNF, depending on how you look at it, for each individual stage. Yeah. Quote, hey Jonas, remember that prestigious race you were maybe going to win? Yeah, pack it up. Jonas's face post-crash looked like someone had just told him the 2025 Tour de France was sponsored by Gravel. He withdrew from the race with a comment so Danish it physically chilled the room. Quote from Jonas, quote, it's not ideal, no. We will need to reassess things, recover first, then decide what the next step is. Translation, I am one crash away from deleting my Zwift account. This was supposed to be his big lead in the Tour. Paris-Nice is where you flex. You let the Pogacars of the world know that you're alive and you are thriving. Instead, Jonas went radio silent, skipped the Volta, and left fans wondering if he had accidentally signed up for a gravel race in Iceland instead. Let's be honest, you don't miss 4 months of racing between the Tour unless you're injured, you're a mastermind, or your bones are being held together with duct tape and tea. Section 2. Mount Jonas, the training camp saga. So what has he actually been doing, you ask? Is he watching How to Win the Tour for Dummies? Is he on a beach in Mallorca playing chess with Roglic? No, Jonas has gone full monk mode. He's disappeared into the high-altitude wilderness of Sierra Nevada, Spain, which is basically Hogwarts for cyclists with broken wrists and broken dreams. Why Sierra Nevada? Because nothing says recovery like training at 2,000 meters above sea level, where every breath is like trying to suck air through a coffee straw. Training camp intel. Yes, we have spies. He's living in a minimalist apartment with blackout curtains, a rice cooker, and probably a couple of, quote, Zen and the art of TT position maintenance. He trains 25 to 30 hours per week, alternative long climbing sessions, motor pacing, and intervals that make his lungs beg for diplomatic asylum. Sundays are for easy spins, allegedly. Easy for a guy who thinks threshold means warm-up. Teaser quote from coach Grishka Newman. Quote, Jonas doesn't need racing to build condition. He needs peace, altitude, and focus. Which sounds a lot like someone trying to convince you that yes, skipping every major race before the biggest race in the world is a genius strategy. Teammate Olaf was overheard saying, quote, I haven't seen Jonas in weeks. Last I heard he was wrestling goats in the Pyrenees to build up a body strength. Unconfirmed. More realistically, he's been doing recon rides in Hatecan, Col de la Louve, and Col de Peyresourde, i.e. the places where races are won and knees are broken. The man is training specifically for the hardest tour climbs while not showing anyone a shred of his form. This brings us to the most chilling part of this entire operation. He is training in complete stealth mode. No races, no power data, no Strava uploads, just a few grainy photos of him looking leaner than a Tourmalet hairpin and angrier than a dropped chain. Yonas quoted last week, "I know people are questioning the plan, but we know what we are doing." Oh, we know you know. We just don't know if you'll still remember how to race a peloton without forgetting how to clip in. Section 3. The big comeback, or a bigger disaster. Let's talk strategy. Yonas is attempting what is officially known in pro cycling circles as the reverse Pogačar, where instead of racing every single day from January to June and winning 19 stages of things you've never heard of, you go completely underground and emerge on July 5th like an overtrained hermit warlock who's either going to shock the world or implode by stage 3. Let's count all the glamorous catastrophes that followed his Parinise Crash. Concussion protocols, wrist mobility limitations, missed Volta a Catalunya, cancelled plans to race Dauphinois, rumoured not confirmed, extended high-altitude exile, critics in Danish media questions his mental state, fans wonder if this is 2020 Froome all over again, and meanwhile, what's Pogačar doing? Oh, just winning the Giro d'Italia by attacking at mile 0 and ordering espresso mid-stage. Meanwhile, Yonas is probably using a foam roller to fix his shattered confidence. Let's read the quote again with eyes fresh. Quote, "We know what you are doing." That's either A, a coincidence, B, delusion, or C, a cry for help in Nordic stoicism. Let's look at the outcomes. A, he wins the Tour de France. He shows up ultra lean, ultra focused, and suddenly demolishes the field on stage 11's summit finish like it's amateur hour. Everyone gasps. Tadej looks behind and sees nothing but fog and regret. Yonas wins by 5 minutes, gives a press conference in 12 words, and rides off into Danish legendary. B, he bombs horribly. The altitude training doesn't translate. He gets gapped on a stage 1 of a TT, he struggles on stage 4's punchy finish, and by stage 10 he's 2 minutes down, emotionally bankrupt and giving post-stage quotes like, "We take it day by day," which is cycling for, "This has gone terribly wrong." And then the critics will ask, why did he race? Where was his form check? Why did he train alone in a literal cloud for 4 months? And Visma's PR department will spontaneously combust from overuse. Final verdict. Is Jonas a mad scientist or a missing person? Let's be real. Jonas Vingegaard is the most unassuming, low-drama, arguably boring racer the Grand Tour has seen. He's dancing the line between genius and existential crisis. He hasn't raced since March, we have no idea what shape he's in, and he could be about to beat Pogačar again. Or he might get passed by Remco on a rest day. This is cycling's equivalent of showing up to a final exam after studying in isolation for 4 months and hoping the questions are about your specific topic that you're expertise in. Quote, "How to climb the Col de la Luz in a straight line while looking unbothered." What do I think? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I think it's either the most brilliant plot twist of the modern era or a horrifying gamble by a man who's lost all trust in traditional racing prep. It's either the return of the king or Lost, Vingegaard edition. The Tour de France will be Jonas's own episode of Is It Cake? Except instead of slicing open a deceptive dessert, we're going to find out his form is made of solid gold or almond flour. So buckle up, stock your Danish snacks and prepare for either an absolute thunderous return that shuts up every critic including myself from Copenhagen to Clermont-Ferrand, or a quiet, tragic fade where Jonas looks at the camera on stage 12 and simply says, "It wasn't ideal." Either way, we win. Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news, cycling races, and cycling results. Before you go, please consider leaving a like on today's video, and also feel free to comment down below your opinions on what you think about anything I have mentioned here today. It's key to point out that no one actually knows what Jonas is going to do. No one's able to judge or gauge his fitness, and it's pretty much near impossible to try and do it. Only Tadej or some of the other Visma riders are going to know what kind of fitness he's actually in. You might be wondering why I say only Tadej. Well, I'll give you the answer to that in my next video. Be tuned on this channel because it's going to shock you that Tadej and Jonas actually met and were training in the same area only a few days ago. Catch you guys in the next one.